The cargo ship moved slowly through space toward Kepler Station. Its name was Stellar Dawn, and it had carried many dangerous things before, but nothing like what it carried now. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the ship's hallways. He had been flying ships for 20 years. He had seen scary cargo many times, but this time was different. This time, 3 military ships followed them through space. The military never did that unless something was very dangerous. He went down to the cargo hold. The place was full of machines and warning lights. Dr. Lisa Blake stood near a huge metal box. She was the scientist who watched over their cargo. She looked worried. "How is our passenger doing?" Jake asked her. Lisa looked at her computer screen. "It's getting stronger. The drugs we gave it are not working as well as before. It's learning to fight them." Jake looked at the big metal box. It was the size of a small room. Energy fields buzzed around it. Warning signs covered every side. Inside the box, something moved. "Show me," Jake said. Lisa pressed some buttons. The walls of the box became clear like glass. Jake stepped back fast. The thing inside was 12 feet long. Its skin was black scales that seemed to eat light. It had 6 legs with claws that looked like knives. Its head was long and thin. When it opened its mouth, Jake could see rows of sharp teeth. The creature was walking around inside the box. It moved like a hunter. Every step was smooth and quiet. Its red eyes looked at everything. When it saw Jake and Lisa, it stopped moving. "That's a warbeast," Lisa said quietly. "The last one left alive." Jake had heard stories about warbeasts. Every person in space knew the stories. Long ago, an alien race made these creatures to fight wars. The warbeasts were so good at killing that they destroyed whole planets. Then something happened to the aliens who made them. No one knew what. But the warbeasts were gone too. Everyone thought they were all dead. "Where did you find it?" Jake asked. "Soldiers found it on a dead planet in the Andromeda area. It was sleeping in some kind of old machine. When they woke it up, it killed 17 soldiers before they could." "Stop it!" The warbeast suddenly hit the wall of its cage. The whole ship shook. Alarms started ringing. Jake and Lisa both jumped back. "It did that yesterday too," Lisa said. She was trying to sound calm, but her hands were shaking. "It's testing how strong the cage is." Jake looked at his computer pad. The ship's systems were all working fine, but some of the numbers looked strange. "What's it doing to our computers?" "It makes sounds that hurt electronics. We think it's trying to break our machines so it can escape." The warbeast made the sound again. This time Jake felt it in his chest. The lights in the room got dim for a second. When they came back on, the creature was looking right at him. Its red eyes seemed to see into his thoughts. Jake had faced pirates and space storms and broken ships, but looking into those eyes made him more scared than anything else in his life. "Why are we taking this thing anywhere?" he asked. "Why not just shoot it into space?" "The Galactic Council wants to study it. We're fighting a war with the hegemony. We're losing. The Council thinks this creature might help us learn how to fight better." Jake shook his head. "This is a bad idea." "Maybe. But it's not our choice to make." The warbeast walked to the front of its cage. It put one clawed hand against the clear wall. For a moment, it just stood there. Then it started making different sounds. Not the electronic screech from before. These sounds were more like music, but sad music. "What's it doing now?" Jake asked. Lisa looked at her instruments. "I don't know. This is new." The sounds got louder. They echoed through the ship's halls. In other parts of the ship, people stopped what they were doing to listen. The sounds were beautiful and terrible at the same time. 3 floors up, a little girl heard the sounds too. Her name was Lucy Carter. She was 6 years old. Her father was Commander Ryan Carter, a soldier who was moving to a new job on Kepler Station. Her mother was Karen Carter, who worked with computers. Lucy was drawing pictures on her tablet while her parents slept. She drew stars and planets and rocket ships. When she heard the strange music, she looked up from her drawing. "That's sad," she said to herself. The sounds reminded her of something. When she was littler, she had a dog named Buddy. Buddy got sick and had to go to the animal doctor. The sounds Buddy made when he was scared and hurt sounded like this. Lucy got up from her bed. She went to the window that looked out into space. The stars were pretty, but she wasn't looking at them now. She was thinking about the sad sounds. "Someone scared," she whispered. Back in the cargo hold, the Warbeast stopped, making sounds. It looked around its cage one more time. Then it lay down in the corner and closed its red eyes. "Is it sleeping?" Jake asked. "I don't think so," Lisa said. "I think it's planning." Jake didn't like the sound of that. Planning what? How to get out. The ship continued through space toward Kepler Station. In the cargo hold, warning lights blinked red and yellow. Machines hummed and beeped. The energy cage around the Warbeast glowed bright blue. But inside the cage, the creature was very still. Too still. Every few minutes its eyes would open just a little. It would look at the walls of its prison. It would listen to the sounds the machines made. It was learning. Jake went back to the ship's control room. He called his security team together. "I want guards watching the cargo hold all the time," he told them. "No one goes in there alone. If anything looks wrong, call me right away." His security chief, a tough woman named Betty Cruz, nodded. "You think it might try to escape?" "I think it's already trying," Jake said. "We just don't know how yet." In her room, Lucy finished her drawing. It showed a big black shape with red eyes. But in her picture, the black shape wasn't scary. It looked lonely. She put the tablet away and got back into bed. As she closed her eyes, she could still hear the echo of those sad sounds in her mind. Somewhere on the ship, something was in pain. Something was afraid. Lucy wanted to help, but she didn't know how. She was just a little girl. What could she do? She fell asleep thinking about the lonely sounds. In her dreams, she was walking through the ship's hallways, looking for whoever was making them. In her dreams, she wasn't afraid. The stellar dawn flew on through the darkness of space. Behind it, the 3 military ships followed like guards. Ahead, Kepler Station waited. And in the cargo hold, the last Warbeast in the galaxy lay in its cage and planned its escape. None of them knew that everything was about to change. None of them knew that the most dangerous creature in known space was about to meet the one thing it had never encountered before. A human child who wasn't afraid. 3 hours later, when most of the ship was sleeping, the Warbeast made its move. It had been watching the energy cage for hours. Every 15 minutes, the blue lights would flicker off for just 3 seconds while the machines reset themselves. 3 seconds was all it needed. The creature had been learning about electricity since it woke up on the dead planet. Its body could make its own electric power, just like some fish in Earth's oceans. It had been saving that power, building it, up inside itself. When the cage lights flickered off, the Warbeast sent all its electric power into the metal walls at once. Sparks flew everywhere. The smell of burning metal filled the air. When the cage tried to turn back on, it couldn't. The Warbeast had broken it from the inside. Alarms started screaming throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in every hallway. People woke up scared and confused. Dr. Lisa Blake jumped out of her bed and ran toward the cargo hold. Captain Jake Morrison was already there, looking at broken machines and twisted metal. "How did it get out?" Lisa asked. "Smart," Jake said. His face was pale. "It figured out our security system and beat it." "Where is it now?" Jake pointed to a hole in the ceiling. The metal was torn apart like paper. "It went into the air ducts." It could be anywhere on the ship. Betty Cruz, the security chief, came running up with her team. "Captain, we've lost contact with teams Alpha and Beta." "Lost contact how?" "They're not answering their radios. We found Team Alpha's equipment scattered. In hallway C7, no sign of the men." Jake felt sick to his stomach. "And Team Beta?" "Same thing. Whatever this creature is, it's hunting us." The ship's lights flickered off and on. Somewhere in the walls, they could hear the sound of metal being torn apart. The Warbeast was moving through the ship like a ghost. "It's cutting our power lines," Lisa said, looking at her computer. "Look at this pattern. It's not random. It knows exactly which wires to cut to hurt us the most." Jake studied the ship's map on his screen. Every few minutes, another system would go offline. First, the long-range radio, then the engines, then the backup power generators. "It's trapping us," he realized. "It doesn't just want to escape. It wants to make sure we can't call for help or run away. 3 decks up, Commander Ryan Carter heard the alarms and knew something was very wrong. He had been a soldier for 15 years. He knew the sound of real danger. He quickly got dressed and checked his weapon. Then he woke up his wife, Karen, and their daughter, Lucy. "What's happening?" Karen asked. "Emergency on the ship. We need to stay in our room and be very quiet." Lucy rubbed her eyes. "Is it the sad thing from before?" Ryan looked at his daughter with surprise. "What sad thing?" "The thing that was making the lonely sounds. Is it loose now?" Before Ryan could answer, the lights in their room went out. Emergency lights came on, making everything look red and scary. Then they heard something moving in the walls above them. "Everyone, get away from the ceiling," Ryan whispered. They moved to the corner of the room. Ryan pointed his gun at the ceiling and waited. The sounds got louder. Something big was crawling through the air ducts right over their heads. Then the sound stopped. Karen held Lucy close. "Maybe it went away," she whispered. The ceiling exploded. Metal pieces flew everywhere. The Warbeast dropped into their room, like a giant black shadow. It was even bigger than it looked in the cage. Its red eyes glowed in the dark room. Karen screamed. Ryan raised his gun, but his hands were shaking. The creature was so close he could feel its hot breath on his face. The Warbeast looked at each of them. Its head moved slowly from Ryan to Karen to Lucy. When it looked at Lucy, something strange happened. The red glow in its eyes got softer. "Don't move," Ryan whispered to his family. "Don't even breathe." But Lucy wasn't scared. She was looking at the creature with curious eyes. The Warbeast lowered its huge head until it was at the same level as the little girl. "You're not really mean, are you?" Lucy said softly. "Lucy, no," Karen whispered. The Warbeast made a sound. Not the electronic screech from before, not the sad music either. This sound was different. It was almost like a question. Lucy took a small step forward. "You're just scared and angry because you don't know where you are." The creature's scales began to change color. Instead of solid black, they started showing blue and green lights. The patterns moved across its body like slow lightning. "You're lost," Lucy said. "Just like I was lost once at the space station when I couldn't find Mommy and Daddy." The Warbeast made another sound. This one was softer, almost like a cat purring. It moved closer to Lucy, but very slowly and carefully. Ryan wanted to grab his daughter and run, but there was nowhere to go. The creature was between them and the door. All he could do was watch as his little girl reached out her hand toward the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. "It's okay," Lucy said. "I'm not going to hurt you." She touched the creature's nose. The Warbeast went very still. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the creature made that purring sound again, and its scales lit up with gentle colors. "What's your name?" Lucy asked. The Warbeast made a series of clicks and hums. They sounded almost like a language, but not like any language humans knew. "I can't say that," Lucy laughed. "Can I call you Shadow? You move like shadows in the dark." The creature's response was a musical hum that sounded happy. It lowered its head until Lucy could pet it like a big dog. In the ship's control room, Dr. Lisa Blake was watching her instruments with amazement. "Captain, look at this. The creature's stress levels are dropping fast. Its heart rate is slowing down." Jake looked at the readings. "What does that mean?" "It means something is calming it down, but I don't understand how that's possible." On the security cameras, they could see into the Carter family's room. The screen showed something impossible. The Warbeast was lying on the floor next to Lucy, like a giant pet. The little girl was sitting against its side and the creature was making gentle sounds. "Are you seeing this?" Jake asked. "I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it," Lisa said. Commander Carter slowly lowered his weapon. His daughter was safe. More than safe. She was making friends with the most dangerous creature in known space. "Lucy," he said carefully, "can you ask your new friend to let us leave the room?" Lucy looked up at Shadow. "Can we go walk around the ship? I want to show you my drawings." The Warbeast stood up smoothly. It moved to the broken doorway and looked back at Lucy, as if asking her to follow. "He says yes," Lucy said. She walked over to Shadow and put her small hand on his leg. Together, they walked out into the hallway. The creature's scales glowed with soft, happy colors as they moved. Behind them, Ryan and Karen Carter followed in. Amazement. Their little girl had just done something that no soldier, no scientist, and no weapon had been able to do. She had made the Warbeast her friend. Lucy and Shadow walked through the ship's hallways together. The creature moved very carefully, making sure not to step on anything or knock things over. Its claws, which had torn through metal doors, now touched the floor as gently as cat paws. Captain Jake Morrison watched them on the security cameras. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The same creature that had killed his security teams was now following a 6-year-old girl like a trained dog. Dr. Blake, get down to level 7 right now, he said into his radio. Bring all your scanning equipment. I need to know what's happening. Are you sure it's safe? Lisa asked. I don't think safe is the right word, but whatever's happening, we need to understand it. In the hallway, Lucy was showing Shadow the pictures on the walls. They were photos of different planets and space stations. Shadow looked at each one carefully as if he was trying to remember something. Do you know any of these places? Lucy asked. Shadow made a low humming sound and pointed with one claw at a picture of a green planet with 3 moons. You lived there? Lucy asked. The creature made a different sound. This one was sad, like the music they had heard before. Lucy understood without words that Shadow's home was gone. I'm sorry, she said, patting his leg. That must make you very sad. Commander Carter and his wife Karen followed behind them. Ryan still had his weapon ready, but he was starting to think he wouldn't need it. The Warbeast seemed completely focused on Lucy. How is she doing this? Karen whispered. Karen? I don't know, Ryan said. But look at it. The thing is completely calm. They were right. Shadow's eyes had changed from angry red to warm golden yellow. The patterns on his scales moved slowly, like gentle waves. When Lucy smiled at him, the patterns got brighter. Dr. Lisa Blake arrived with her equipment. She set up her scanners in the hallway and started taking readings. What she saw made her gasp. The creature's brain activity is completely different, she told Captain Morrison through her radio. It's showing patterns I've never seen before. What kind of patterns? Like a pet dog, or a horse that trusts its rider. The aggression centers in its brain have almost shut down completely. Jake shook his head. That's impossible. This thing was built to be a weapon. I know, but the readings don't lie. Lucy had found a quiet room where she could sit down. It was the ship's small library, with books and comfortable chairs. Shadow lay down on the floor next to her chair, curling his long body around her like a protective wall. Are you tired? Lucy asked him. Shadow made a soft sound that meant yes. He put his huge head down on his front legs and closed his eyes, but his ears stayed alert, listening for any danger. Dr. Blake entered the room carefully. She had her scanner in her hand, but she moved very slowly. Hello, Lucy, she said. My name is Lisa. I'm a scientist. I study different kinds of animals and creatures. Hi, Lucy said. This is Shadow. He's my friend now. I can see that. Can you tell me how you became friends? Lucy thought about it. He was scared and angry because people hurt him. I told him I wouldn't hurt him and he believed me. How do you know he believed you? I can feel it. When he looks at me, I can feel what he's feeling. He's not angry anymore. He's just sad and lonely. Dr. Blake looked at her scanner. The readings were even stranger now. Lucy, when you touch Shadow, something happens to both of you. Your brain waves start to match each other. What does that mean? It means you're sharing thoughts and feelings. That's very special. Most people can't do that. Shadow opened one golden eye and looked at Dr. Blake. He didn't make any threatening sounds, but he watched her carefully. He doesn't trust you yet, Lucy said. But he's not going to hurt you unless you try to hurt me. I won't hurt anyone, Lisa said. I just want to understand. Captain Morrison's voice came through the radio. Dr. Blake, we're getting a message from Galactic Command. They want to know what's happening. Lisa pressed her radio button. Tell them we have the situation under control. The creature is no longer dangerous. Are you sure about that? Lisa looked at Shadow, who was now completely relaxed. As sure as I can be. But Jake wasn't satisfied with that answer. He made a ship-wide announcement. Attention all crew. The situation is stable, but everyone should stay in their rooms until further notice. Do not approach level 7. Lucy heard the announcement and looked sad. Shadow, people are afraid of you because they don't understand you're not scary anymore. Shadow made a questioning sound. You want to show them you're good now? Lucy asked. The creature nodded his big head. Okay, but we have to do it slowly. Dr. Blake, can you bring one person at a time to meet Shadow, so they can see he's safe? Lisa thought about it. That might work. But we should start with people who aren't afraid. My daddy's not afraid, Lucy said, looking at Commander Carter. Are you, Daddy? Ryan looked at the massive creature lying calmly on the floor. A few hours ago, it had been the most dangerous thing he'd ever seen. Now it looked almost like a giant-scaled dog. No, sweetheart, I'm not afraid anymore. He walked closer to Shadow. The creature raised his head and looked at Ryan with those golden eyes. There was intelligence there, and something that looked almost like gratitude. Thank you for not hurting my daughter, Ryan said. Shadow made a gentle sound and lowered his head in what looked like a bow. Dr. Blake was recording everything. This is incredible. The creature is showing complex social behaviors. It understands family relationships and shows respect for Lucy's father. Over the next hour, a few more people came to meet Shadow. Each time, Lucy introduced them carefully. She would talk to Shadow first, telling him that the new person was a friend. Then she would tell the person how to act around Shadow. Move slowly, she would say. Don't make loud noises. Let him smell your hand first, then you can pet him if he wants you to. Betty Cruz, the security chief, was one of the bravest. She had lost 2 of her team members to the creature, but she came to see what had changed. This is the same thing that killed my men? She asked. He was different then, Lucy said. He was scared and angry. People had hurt him and made him mean. But he doesn't want to be mean anymore. Shadow looked at Betty with sad eyes. He made a low, sorrowful sound. He's sorry, Lucy translated. He didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to get away. Betty stared at the creature for a long time. Finally, she reached out and touched his head. Shadow closed his eyes and leaned into her touch. I forgive you, she said quietly. Captain Morrison watched everything through the security cameras. He called Admiral Hayes at Galactic Command. Admiral, I need to change our mission, he said. What do you mean, Captain? The Warbeast isn't a weapon anymore. A little girl has somehow turned it into something else, something better. Explain. I think we've discovered something more important than a new weapon, sir. We've discovered a new kind of friendship, one that could change how we deal with dangerous creatures forever. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. I'll need a full report, Captain. But for now, continue to Haven Colony as planned. We need to study this further. As night fell on the ship, Lucy curled up in her bed. Shadow lay on the floor next to her, one massive paw resting protectively near her pillow. Good night, Shadow, she whispered. The creature made a soft, musical sound that meant good night in return. For the first time in thousands of years, the last warbeast in the galaxy slept peacefully. News of what happened on the stellar dawn traveled fast through space. Every space station, every military ship, every planet in the galaxy heard the story. The creature that had scared everyone for thousands of years was now friends with a human. Admiral Hayes called an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. Leaders from hundreds of different alien races appeared as holograms in the great meeting hall. Are we to believe, said the Zephyrian ambassador, that a human child succeeded where our greatest warriors failed? The reports are clear, Admiral, Hayes replied. The warbeast that killed 17 of your soldiers now follows a 6-year-old girl's commands. What commands? Asked the Centauri representative. Simple ones. Sit. Stay. Come here. The creature obeys them all. The room filled with the sound of different alien languages as the representatives talked among themselves. Some sounded amazed. Others sounded worried. Dr. Blake appeared as a hologram in the meeting room. She had been working around the clock to understand what was happening. Honored delegates, she said. I've been studying the bond between the human child and the Warbeast for 3 days now. What I've found changes everything we thought we knew. Explain, said the council chairman. The Warbeast species wasn't originally created to be weapons. They were guardians, protectors. The warrior programming was added later, probably through torture and forced conditioning. Gasps echoed through the meeting hall. The human child somehow triggered the creature's original nature. Its true self. It remembered what it was meant to be. On the stellar dawn, Lucy was teaching Shadow new things every day. She had brought her box of toys from home, and Shadow loved to play with them. "Catch, Shadow," Lucy said, throwing a soft ball. The massive creature caught the ball gently in his mouth. His huge teeth, which could tear through metal, barely touched the toy. He brought it back to Lucy and dropped it at her feet. "Good boy," Lucy said, petting his head. Shadow's scales glowed with happy colors. The patterns moved faster when he was excited, slower when he was calm. Commander Carter watched his daughter play with the creature that had once been the most feared thing in space. "She's teaching it to be gentle," he told his wife Karen. "Or, maybe she's helping it remember how to be gentle," Karen said. "Dr. Blake thinks it was always supposed to be this way." Captain Morrison joined them in the observation room. "The council wants us to change course. Instead of going to Kepler Station, we're heading to Haven Colony." "Why?" Ryan asked. "They're setting up a special research center there. They want to study Lucy and Shadow's bond more carefully." "What if we don't want to be studied?" Karen asked. "It's not an order," Morrison said. "It's a request. They're hoping Lucy can help them understand how to make peace with other dangerous creatures." In the playroom, Lucy was reading to Shadow from one of her picture books. The creature listened carefully, his golden eyes following the pictures. "And then the little dragon learned that being kind was better than being scary," Lucy read. The other animals weren't afraid of him anymore. Shadow made a soft humming sound. Lucy had learned that this meant he understood. "You're like the dragon in the story," she told him. "You don't want to be scary anymore." Dr. Blake entered the room with her equipment. She had been taking measurements every day, trying to understand how the bond worked. "Lucy, can you ask Shadow about his memories? About his people?" Lucy put her hand on Shadow's head and closed her eyes. After a moment, she opened them with a sad look. "He remembers when he was little. His people took care of baby animals from other planets. When their parents couldn't feed them or protect them, Shadow's people would help. What happened to change? That?" Lucy was quiet for a long time, her hand still on Shadow's head. "Bad people came. They had machines that hurt Shadow's people's minds. They made them forget about being kind. They made them only remember how to fight." Shadow made a low, mournful sound. "How many of his people are left?" "Just Shadow, he's the very last one." Tears started to fall down Lucy's cheeks. "He's been alone for so long." Dr. Blake felt her own eyes getting wet. "That's why the bond with you is so important to him. You're his family now." Shadow gently nuzzled Lucy's cheek, wiping away her tears with his smooth scales. "Don't be sad," Lucy told him. "You're not alone anymore. You have me and Mommy and Daddy, and all the people on the ship who like you now." It was true. Over the past few days, most of the crew had come to visit Shadow. At first they were scared, but Lucy always introduced them carefully. She taught them how to act around him. "Don't stare at his eyes too long. That makes him nervous. Let him smell you first, move slowly, talk in a quiet voice." Shadow seemed to understand that these people were Lucy's friends. He was always gentle with them, though he never showed them the same affection he showed Lucy. Betty Cruz had become one of Shadow's favorite visitors. She brought him treats from the ship's kitchen. Shadow especially liked the sweet fruit from Earth. "I never thought I'd be friends with the thing that killed my team," she told Lucy one day. "He's sorry about that," Lucy said. "He shows me his memories sometimes. He remembers your friends. He wishes he could bring them back." "I know," Betty said, scratching behind Shadow's ears. "I can see it in his eyes." The stellar dawn arrived at Haven Colony 5 days later. The colony was a peaceful place where scientists from different planets worked together. They had built a special facility just for Lucy and Shadow. It wasn't like the metal cage from before. This was a large, comfortable space with grass and trees and a small pond. There were toys and books and soft places to sleep. "Do you like it?" Lucy asked Shadow as they explored their new home. Shadow's scales lit up with bright, happy colors. He ran around the space like a playful puppy, splashing in the pond and rolling in the grass. Dr. Blake set up her equipment in a nearby building. Scientists from all over the galaxy were coming to study the bond between human and Warbeast. What exactly are you hoping to learn? Commander Carter asked. How to make peace, Dr. Blake said. There are other dangerous species out there, creatures we've been fighting for years. If we can understand how Lucy connected with Shadow, maybe we can connect with them too. You want other children to do what Lucy did? Only if they want to. And only if they have Lucy's special gift. What gift? The ability to see past fear to the good inside others. Not everyone can do that. Lucy is very special. That evening, Lucy sat with Shadow under the alien stars of Haven Colony. The creature had his head in her lap while she gently stroked his scales. Are you happy here? She asked him. Shadow made a contented humming sound. His scales glowed softly in the darkness. Good. Tomorrow, more people are coming to meet you. Scientists and leaders from different planets. They want to see how nice you are now. Shadow looked up at her with trusting golden eyes. Don't worry, Lucy said. I'll be with you. We'll show them together that being friends is better than being enemies. As they sat together under the stars, neither of them knew that their friendship was about to change the entire galaxy. The end. First visitors were arriving tomorrow, and among them were representatives from species that had been at war for centuries. Lucy and Shadow were going to help them remember how to make peace. 6 months had passed since Lucy and Shadow arrived at Haven Colony. The Special Research Center had become the most important place in the galaxy. Scientists, soldiers, and leaders from hundreds of worlds came to see the impossible friendship. Dr. Blake stood in her new laboratory looking at months of data. Everything she had learned about Lucy and Shadow was changing how people thought about dangerous creatures. The results are clear, she told the daily council meeting. When Lucy touches Shadow, both their brains create the same wave patterns. They share emotions, memories, even dreams. Admiral Hayes appeared as a hologram. Have you figured out how she does it? It's not something she learned. It's something she was born with. Some humans have a natural ability to connect with other minds. Lucy's gift is stronger than anything we've ever seen. In the habitat, Lucy was playing a new game with Shadow. She had taught him to be very gentle with his claws. Now he could pick up small objects without breaking them. Good job, Shadow, Lucy said as he carefully placed a blue block on top of a red one. Now try the yellow one. Shadow's scales glowed with proud colors as he added the yellow block to the tower. He had learned to build things instead of destroying them. Commander Carter and his wife Karen watched from the observation deck. She's not just our little girl anymore, Karen said. She's become something special. She was always special, Ryan replied. We just didn't know how special. Below them, a group of alien visitors were watching Lucy and Shadow play. They were from the hegemony, the enemy that the galaxy had been fighting for years. Their leader was a tall, thin creature with purple skin and 4 arms. This human child has done what our weapons could not, the hegemony leader said. She has tamed the untamable. Dr. Blake joined the visitors. Shadow wasn't tamed, he was healed. There's a difference. Explain this difference. Taming breaks a creature's spirit to make it obey. Healing helps a creature remember its true nature. Shadow was always meant to be gentle. The violence was forced on him. The hegemony leader thought about this. Our scientists have captured one of the terror birds from the void sector. It has killed many of our people. Could this human child help with such a creature? Maybe. But only if Lucy wants to try, and only if we're very careful. Captain Morrison had been promoted to Admiral after the success of the mission. He arrived at Haven Colony with important news. The Galactic Council has made a decision, he announced. They're creating a new department called Peaceful Contact Division. They want Lucy to help train other people with similar gifts. What kind of training? Commander Carter asked. How to approach dangerous creatures without fear. How to see past their scary appearance to find the gentle soul inside. Lucy has shown us a new way to solve old problems. Lucy overheard the conversation. Does that mean I get to help more creatures like Shadow? Only if you want to, Admiral, Morrison said. You're still just 6 years old. This should be your choice. Lucy looked at Shadow, who was listening to every word. What do you think, Shadow? Should we help other creatures who are scared and angry? Shadow made a deep, thoughtful sound. Then he nodded his great head. Shadow says yes, Lucy translated. He wants to help others feel better, like he feels better now. The first test came a week later. The hegemony brought their terror bird to Haven Colony in a specially built ship. The creature was kept in a cage that was even stronger than the one Shadow had escaped from. Lucy and Shadow went to see the new arrival. The terror bird was huge, even bigger than Shadow. It had black feathers that looked like metal, a curved beak full of sharp teeth and claws that could cut through stone. Its eyes burned with red hatred. It's been in that cage for 2 years, the hegemony leader explained. It kills anyone who gets close. Lucy studied the creature carefully. Shadow stood beside her, his scales showing calm, peaceful colors. She's not really a terror bird, Lucy said after a moment. What do you mean? She's a mother bird. She's scared because someone took her babies away. The hegemony leader looked surprised. How can you know this? I can feel her sadness. It's the same kind of sadness Shadow had when he remembered his people. Lucy turned to the alien leader. Where are her babies? We don't know. Our soldiers found her attacking a research station. We thought she was just being violent. She was trying to save her children, Lucy said. That's why she's so angry. Lucy approached the cage slowly. The terror bird screeched and threw itself against the bars, but Lucy didn't run away. I know you're scared, she said in her gentle voice. You miss your babies. I would be angry too if someone took my family away. The terror bird stopped attacking the cage. She looked at Lucy with those burning red eyes. We're going to help you find them, Lucy promised. But first you need to trust us. Shadow moved up beside Lucy. He made soft musical sounds to the terror bird. Lucy had taught him how to sing calming songs. Slowly, very slowly, the terror bird's eyes began to change from red to orange, then to yellow. She's listening, Dr. Blake whispered, watching her instruments. Her stress levels are dropping. Lucy reached through the bars and gently touched the terror bird's beak. The huge creature froze, then carefully pressed her head against Lucy's small hand. What's your name? Lucy asked. The terror bird made a series of whistles and chirps. I'll call you Melody, Lucy said, because you have a pretty voice when you're not scared. By the end of the day, Melody was out of her cage. She walked calmly beside Lucy and Shadow, her metal black feathers now showing hints of blue and green. The hegemony leader was amazed. In 2 years, we never saw her calm down. How did the child do it in 1 day? Lucy didn't see a monster, Dr. Blake explained. She saw a mother looking for her children. When you understand what someone really needs, you can help them. Over. The next month, they found Melody's babies. They had been taken to a zoo on a distant planet. When the family was reunited, Melody's transformation was complete. She became as gentle and protective as Shadow. The news spread across the galaxy faster than ever before. The human child who could calm the most dangerous creatures was becoming famous. But more importantly, her methods were being studied and taught to others. Captain Betty Cruz had volunteered to train with Lucy. She was learning how to approach scared creatures without making them more afraid. The secret, Lucy taught her, is to not think about what they might do to you. Think about what you can do to help them. Admiral Hayes visited Haven Colony to see the progress. Lucy, the Council has a question for you. Would you like to have your own ship? You could travel to different worlds and help creatures wherever they're needed. Lucy looked at Shadow and Melody, who were playing together in the grass. Can my friends come with me? Of course. And can my mom and dad come too? Yes. Lucy smiled. Then yes. I want to help everyone I can. Dr. Blake started writing her final report. The Lucy Carter Protocol, she wrote, has proven that violence is not the only answer to dangerous creatures. Sometimes, all they need is someone who sees the good in them and isn't afraid to show kindness. That evening, Lucy sat with Shadow and Melody under the stars. Tomorrow they would leave for their first official mission. Somewhere in the galaxy, other creatures were waiting for help. "Are you ready for our new adventure?" Lucy asked her friends. Shadow and Melody both made happy sounds. Their scales and feathers glowed with peaceful colors in the starlight. Lucy Carter, the little girl who had tamed the untamable, was ready to bring peace to the galaxy, one friendship at a time.